Hi, good afternoon. It's Sam Buban again, and welcome to the third episode of Meet the Candidates here on Joseph Buban's YouTube channel. Our guest for today is no other than Reuben D'Silva. He's running for the State Assembly of Nevada, and he would be speaking to us today, and we can learn a few things about him and what his plans are. So stick around with us. Ruben, you are running for that seat on District 28.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And where exactly is Assembly District 28?
Okay, so Assembly District 28 is in East Las Vegas.
Mhm.
Essentially, the boundaries are Pecos in the west,
Yeah.
Sloan in the east,
Mhm.
and then the southern boundary is Bonanza all the way across.
Our
And then
Bonanza.
generally, the northern boundary is Las Vegas Boulevard, running at a slant from the Broadacre Swap Meet all the way up to Nellis Air Force Base,
To Nellis Air
area.
Force Base.
And then it cuts across, around the base area, the far northeast,
Mhm.
Sunrise Mountain High School. So that's generally the area there.
That Hollywood area is not included, right?
There's a bit of it comes close to Hollywood, and it
Close
does
to
border
Hollywood.
Hollywood in the extreme northeast of the district. But generally, the eastern boundary is Sloan.
All right, that's what is the demographic in that district?
Mhm.
It's like it's pretty much a very diverse district.
Mhm. It's very diverse. It's a minority majority district,
Mm.
and the overwhelming demographic group is the Latino community. It's actually that district, along with District 11, 14 has a large population as well,
Mhm.
going up into 6. That area right there is really the heart and the real locus of the Latino community in the state of Nevada. I think
Yeah.
from the numbers that I've seen, maybe upwards to 60, maybe 70%.
Right,
of,
and I also know a lot of Filipinos who live
Yes,
in that
and
district.
there's also many Filipino Americans. There's actually small neighborhood pockets that are just almost all Filipino.
Right.
I remember knocking doors
Uh-huh.
in the close to Desert Pines High School, in the area between Desert Pines High School, in the middle part of the district, and just every door after door, there was a Filipino American family there.
All right.
So there's also a large African American population.
Mhm.
I want to say roughly anywhere from 13 to maybe 15%.
That is,
Yeah,
that's a good diverse district.
very diverse district.
Tell us first about yourself, Ruben.
Mhm.
Tell our voters about you.
Well, a little bit about myself. Well, I was born in Mumbai, India. My family immigrated to the United States when I was 2. We lived in New York City, in Queens, and I always make the joke saying that JFK Airport is the new Ellis Island. When people come to America, they come to so many of us, newer immigrants. We come to JFK Airport, and then the east, the Angel Island. You have San Francisco and Oakland Airport becoming like the real hubs.
And
For so many of us making the journey across the ocean.
Tom Bradley in Los Angeles.
Tom Bradley in LA, yeah, it's so true. So my family lived in New York for a few years till I was 6 years old, and then we moved to Las Vegas when I was 6, and we've been in Las Vegas ever since, in the same area, the same northeast part of of the city. So I grew up around the Civic Center Lake Mead area, which is today the area right around Rancho High School, the Broadacre Swap Meet, the Silver Nugget, the Jerry's Nugget. Those were like the real hubs of my existence at the time. Me and my friends would ride our bicycles to all these places, go bowling,
Uh-huh.
at the Silver Nugget, and then go to Freedom Park and hang out there. That was like
Yeah.
a big place for us to hang out when we were kids.
Mhm.
And I had a great upbringing. I was one of the few Indian American families, probably the only one. There was very few that were in the area at the time. This is the early '90s. My family moved here in 1991,
Mhm.
and my upbringing really was more akin to a Latino or a African American sort of upbringing. All my friends were either Latino or African American growing up, and I was always the lone Indian American. When I used to tell them too, that I was Indian, the first question is like, "What tribe are you from?" Or so they didn't even know what Indian
Native
was.
American.
Not South Asian. They
Not
thought I was
South
a
Asian.
Native American.
Mhm.
But our population has grown, and there are many other families there in the in the northeast part of town. So I think it highlights the diversity of
Right,
of
right.
our city, of our community. So My family was undocumented. That's something that I've been talking about more often now. Just to highlight the fact that there are so many of us who lived in the shadows, grew up in the shadows, and there was a time frame in our family. In our family's history, they went through a crisis. My mom was slated for deportation. If she was to be deported, myself and my brother would have also been deported. And then my dad, who at that time had his green card, was good, and my two younger siblings were born in the United States, and they were also okay.
Yeah.
But it was a moment that we really came to terms with this status issue of us of our family. My uncle did get deported. He was deported back to India, and then eventually made his way back to Europe, and he worked there for a long time in the United Kingdom. And so we went through all that struggle. And one thing that I do want to push, I know it's something that we won't be able to do as much, as at the state level, but is to really call for federal, representatives and officials to really push immigration reform.
Yes.
And make it a priority in this next few years.
Right,
We really want to see it
right.
happen. There's so many families out there that are being ripped apart. We were lucky enough to have an advocate, Senator Richard Bryan, whose office stepped in and curbed and stopped the deportation of my mom. So, but I know many are not that lucky.
Yeah.
So we did have that crisis when I was younger. Eventually we were able to get our work permit, and that was around the age of 13. And then eventually my social security number and all that, and we were good. This is about at the age of 13. I was about 13 years old when that happened.
So I can understand, that what we are hearing about the dreamers, that there really had to be a pathway, towards their permanent residency
Yes.
or legalization. What's your professional background?
So I'm a teacher,
Oh, wow.
and I teach at Rancho High School, the same school that I graduated from. And another cool thing is that many of the students who come to Rancho, my mom was their teacher. My mom just retired as a elementary school teacher. She started teaching in 97, first with Head Start, and then the Clark County School District. And so all her schools were Northeast Las Vegas schools. Tom Williams, Marion Kalin, which she retired from, and C.P. Squires, where she started. That's the school that I went to as well when I first, my family came to Las Vegas when I was 6-7 years old. So first grade, second grade, I did it at C.P. Squires. So I love being an educator. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. Coming back to Las Vegas after finishing grad school. And it's only the second job I've ever had. The only other real job I would say that I had that wasn't part-time was serving in the United States Marine Corps. I served in the Marines from 2004 to 2008, and while I was in the Marines,
great. Yeah.
did a deployment to Iraq. I was shot to the arm in the war. In 2007, received the Purple Heart, and also received my citizenship because of it. I was a green card holder at the time, but I really made it a point when I saw my social worker for the first time laying in a hospital bed, saying, "I want to see my parents, and I also want to get my U.S. citizenship. I want to be able to vote in the next election," which I was able to do in 2008.
It's good to hear, your American dream story. Not many out there, but it's like, but I want to point out that I just love educators. Educators, like especially the elementary, the high school. That's where everybody has to go through.
Yeah.
And yet there are many states in the country right now where their governors is declaring war against the teachers, and it's just not right. So tell me, what are some of the important things you wish to be able to accomplish for the people of Nevada while you are in the state assembly?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's one that I meditated on deeply even before running for office. And of course, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, and I believe that education is the great catapult to opportunity, for all Americans, not just Nevadans. And I want to make that my number one priority. Is we want to see more education funding. We want to see an increase in the amount of money that the state is going to dedicate towards education, public education, and that's something that I really, will be working towards that goal. And there are many other legislators who are also going to be, making this a priority of theirs.
Right.
And when you look at it, education is the foundation. Everything
Yes.
else stems from it. You know,
Exactly.
we can't have a great healthcare system without having a strong education system in this town. We can't have a dynamic, diversified economy without having a strong education system. We can't have a world class sort of tech base or industrial base, which we can't have here
Yes.
without having a strong education system where we can have the brain power and then also the accessibility to job training, so on and so forth,
Yes.
without making those expenditures and that commitment to education. And this is not just K through 12; this is also higher ed. So that's going to be my number one priority moving into the legislative session.
All right. Yeah. That's good to know. And this one is, why do you believe you will be the best candidate for this job for District
For
28?
the Assembly District 28. Well, I grew up in Northeast Las Vegas. I've been there pretty much my entire life since I was 6 years old. I live there, I work there. My entire family is in that area, and we know the district intimately. Very well. Aside from my time in the Marines and my time in grad school, I did a master's degree in Philadelphia and UPenn and at Yale in New Haven. I've always been in Northeast Las Vegas. I spent most of my life there, just in the classroom, in my house, or kicking it with my neighbors. And in that regard, I think I am probably the person who has the most intimate understanding of the district.
You're homegrown.
Homegrown.
You're homegrown in that district.
In that district, and in the broader Northeast Las Vegas area, which I begin to use that term now because we do see a similar sort of demographic development. We see
Right.
socioeconomic issues that are much more important to that area that are different from that of Southwest Las Vegas or of Summerlin or of Henderson. So I think that we got to start looking at ourselves as a part of Las Vegas that has been in many ways neglected. That is, if you look at the zip codes that have the poorest incomes, per
Yes.
capita incomes, they're almost all in the northeast part of Las Vegas. From stretching from the I-15 freeway, the historic west side, to the Sunrise Manor and going north.
Yes.
So I think that all of us who are going to be serving the legislature, whether we're Republican or Democrat, no matter what our racial background is or how long we've been in Las Vegas, if we are committed to the overall success of Nevada, we have to look at Northeast Las Vegas as
Yes.
being a place that is very much so in need of attention.
Right. So, here's just my last question for you. Assume you're speaking to a largely Filipino or Asian American and Pacific Islanders audience. What would you tell them now
Yeah.
in order for them to vote for you?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say that I am Asian American as well. My family's Indian from South Asia, and my dad actually lived in the Philippines for about 6 months, and he was trying to make his way to the United States. He worked in Saudi Arabia for a while. Made a lot of Filipino friends working with Aramco,
Oh,
a
okay.
company that
Yes.
predominantly hired Indian and Filipino workers. And he lived in Manila, in Tondo, in the neighborhood of Tondo,
Yes.
for a long time, for 6 months. I actually visited Manila in 2015. I stayed in the Manila hotel right across from Jose Rizal Park,
Right.
and visited Corregidor, Batan. I went to Tondo, visited my daddy, his old stomping grounds, and the Metropolitan Cathedral. So much history there, So when I think about the Filipino community, I think about the great sort of impact that the Filipino community has made, not just to America, but especially here to Las Vegas. And I want to make sure that I have a strong line of communication, an open door with the Filipino community in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And I, as an Asian American, see the Filipino community as some of the progenitors. They were one of the original groups
Yes.
that had made an impact, that settled in this town decades ago, that opened doors for other Asian Americans and other immigrant groups even.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that is honored, that history is honored, that the history is remembered, and that when it comes to my office vis-a-vis the Filipino American community, it'll always be an open door and a very friendly office. So please make sure that you reach out to me when I'm in Carson City
All
and when
right.
I'm holding our office.
Very good. So, folks, you heard it from Reuben D'Silva, running for the State Assembly in Nevada, District 28. Don't forget to vote. November 8th
Yes.
is the general election. And my friend Reuben here is running under the Democratic Party. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, but all our children needs folks like Reuben D'Silva in the state assembly. He's an educator, a veteran, and he's there for our children or our grandchildren. So don't forget, November 8th.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
And thank you, Sam.
Reuben, thank you for joining us today or for even coming.